Hey everybody, how's it going? It's been a long time. I know, I'm sorry I didn't upload a video last time, but you know, we had like the Independence Mexican Day. So it was a very important date, and yes, we were partying all the week, like a good Mexican party. Today I'm telling you the story of Spider-Man 2 from the original Sam Raimi trilogy. One of my favorite movies of all time, seriously. So if you want to check part 1, the first installment, you can click right here. We have a video on that one. Remember, if you want to support this channel, there is no better way but to subscribe, to share with your friends, and give us a thumbs up. And remember to comment if you have any requests and movies that you would like me to cover. Okay, I think that's it, so let's get started. Okay, everything about this movie is awesome. Even the credits are awesome. Look at that, gorgeous. Spider-Man 2 begins with Peter working for Joe's Pizza with a 29-minute delivery guarantee. Peter is late for the next delivery as he was helping someone in the city, but that's not an excuse for an angry client in New York. They don't care about people. So he takes the pizza and suits up, but he's gotta save those children crossing the street without freaking looking. Now I guess he entered the building using a window because he ends up in the janitor's closet. That should raise a few eyebrows, but this girl, she's only worried about the hour and not paying for that pizza. Classic Dr. Brennan moment. At the pizzeria he's fired because he's always late, but that's definitely not his fault, it's New York, you can even get to the next block in 29 minutes. Then J. Jonah Jameson pays him $300 for one picture. Sadly, that doesn't cover the advance he was given a few weeks before. Then Peter runs to class at university, but he only runs into Professor Connors outside. As the class is over, he's also informed his grades are not good and a paper he's working on is overdue. At night, Peter visits Aunt May, and hey, there is a small party for him as it's his birthday, something else he had forgotten. Mary Jane and Harry are there, and oh, Mary Jane is acting now, great! Harry's angry with Peter as he takes pictures of Spider-Man, who he thinks killed his father. Oh, Harry, if you knew. But at the same time, Harry offers Peter to meet with Doctor Octopus, a famous scientist working at Oscorp, and who Peter is writing a paper on. Oh, and by the way, I totally think Harry's got a point. I mean, as far as he knows, Peter is making a living out of the killer of his dad. Once the party's over, Peter says this, but even in that situation, Aunt May wants to give him some money. And this scene just breaks my heart.
You can take this money from me. For God's sake, it's not much, now take it.
When Peter takes out the trash, Mary Jane is waiting. They talk a bit, and man, you can see the love in their eyes, but he says nothing. Then MJ says she's seeing someone, and that's enough for Peter to promise he'll see the play Mary Jane is in the next day. Later, Peter comes back to his apartment, bumping into the landlord, who says Peter hasn't paid rent in a month, taking the last $20 the young man had for the rest of the week. And the apartment, well, it's a place, I guess. At least it has a bed. Next morning, Peter meets Doctor Octopus. He's working on fusion to provide clean and renewable energy for the city. Otto, his wife, and Peter have lunch together, and they start talking about love. Otto says Peter should know some poetry if he wants to make a woman fall in love. And later, Peter is reading a bunch of books about poetry, but come on, man, that's not the problem. She already confessed to you at the funeral, remember? You don't need poetry, you need free time. Peter suits up for the play, takes the tickets and all, but on the way there, a pursuit is going on and he has to stop the thieves. He gets late to the theater and is stopped at the front door by Bruce Campbell, aka Ash, aka Don't Mess With Me, Deadites. He refuses to let Peter in, so he misses the play. He waits outside till the end to talk to Mary Jane, but life is cruel, and when the play is over, he says this. And I know, this is sad, but Mary Jane can't wait forever. With a broken heart, Peter goes to save the city, but dang it, he can shoot more web. Whoa, it's impressive he didn't die from that height. And well, he has to take the elevator. The next day, it's Otto's nuclear fusion demonstration, and he has designed these robotic arms to help him handle the core of energy. Now, my question is, isn't that already like Nobel Prize tech? The man is freaking controlling those things with his brain, not even Elon Musk can do that. Anyway, the test doesn't go as planned, Otto's wife is killed by glass, he's electrocuted, and Spider-Man has to step up and shut off the thing. Odd is taken to surgery to remove the robotic arms, and that's the moment we remember Sam Raimi loves horror movies. I remember freaking out the first time I saw this. He gets to a storehouse on an old dock, and I'm sorry if that thing has a name, but I'm not familiar with docks. The arms start talking to him in his head, and together decide they must rebuild the reactor to finish what they started. I think it isn't as crazy as it sounds. The craziest thing was testing the device in the middle of the city. Jonah Jameson renames Otto as Doctor Octopus and asks Peter to take pictures of his son, an astronaut, during a very important meeting with all the important people in it. And whoa, life is full of surprises, as when Aunt May and Peter got to the bank to get a loan, Doctor Octopus is there to rob the place. Doc Ock and Spiderman start fighting, throwing bags full of coins at each other. They take the fight to the street. Doc Ock takes Aunt May hostage. Coincidence? I don't think so. They continue fighting, and the lady helps Spider-Man to defeat the villain. Aunt May is rescued by her hero, and Doc Ock leaves for now. That night, Peter goes to the gala where the son of Jonah Jameson is a special guest, and hold to your butts, cause his girlfriend is Mary Jane Watson.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I wouldn't like to be Peter right now. It's like he has the worst luck in the universe. He briefly talks to Mary Jane, but she's tired of empty words. Oh, and Harry was also at the party, and he gets angry and slaps Peter. Oh my god. Oh, and MJ is getting married. No, seriously, this is too much for any human being. So Peter loses his powers again. What's the solution for all this? Well, the doctor says it's probably that Peter doesn't know what he wants. Maybe he doesn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. Maybe he wants to be on time for class, be at the theater on time, be there for his friends, you know, normal stuff. And obviously he didn't say he was a Spider-Man. He said he was a Spider-Man in one of his dreams. So, well, yeah, I guess that provides the perfect cover. So Peter thinks and decides to take his suit to the trash. And here we have a new beginning. Peter looks happy. He falls, but he looks happy. And he has to use his glasses again. He goes to class, he does his homework, he even sees MJ's play. They talk a bit after the play, but she's about to get married, so it's a bit difficult to stop that. Anyway, it kind of works. You can see a little bit of hesitation in Mary Jane. Next day, someone brings the suit to Jonah Jameson, who's happy because the power of the press made Spider-Man retire. And he uses the suit. That surely adds up to his happiness. At the same time, Doc Ock needs something for his experiment. Tritium, which is a super expensive and super rare element. So Otto pays Harry a visit, and they make a deal that Doctor Octopus will capture Spider-Man in exchange of tritium. How can I find the bug? Says Doc Ock, and Harry says, well, Peter takes pictures of him, so it's a good place to start. But don't hurt Peter, cause he's my friend. I know I slapped him a few times, but he's my friend, he's my brother. Peter has been ignoring a bunch of bad things happening around him, like crimes, emergencies, and all. But when he hears a child screaming in a building on fire, he decides to go back to the good, not so good, but I guess righteous old days. Also, a visit to Aunt May helps too. He starts by jumping between buildings. Look at him!
I'm back! I'm back! My back! Oh, my back!
Oh, don't look at him! Don't look at him! Oh, but life is cruel, cause it's around that moment that Mary Jane realizes she doesn't love her fiancé as much as she loves Peter. That's too bad, as the next day they meet at a cafeteria, Mary Jane saying she wants to be with Peter, but Peter now refuses to do so. MJ asks Peter if he loves her, to which, hesitant, he replies he doesn't. Oh man, this is so intense, it's like a Mexican soap opera. MJ then asks Peter for a kiss to prove if there is love between them, but not so fast, Pedro, cause a freaking car is about to smash you. Peter saves Mary Jane, but Doc Ock takes her hostage as a way to push Peter to contact Spider-Man. The villain also throws Peter against the wall. And what if you just killed him? What's the plan? I'm just saying, maybe the next time he should think twice before throwing people here and there. Whatever. Peter emerges from the rubble with fire in his eyes. And just like that, he's back to be Spider-Man. Peter gets back his costume from the Daily Bugle and starts fighting Octavius on a building. They fall on top of a subway cart, and that's just so Whoa, I love it! At every moment it seems our hero is about to be defeated, but at every moment he stands up to fight back. Tired of all that, Doc Ock speeds up things, tearing apart the driver's cabin and escapes. Spider-Man checks the damage, but the thing explodes on his face, so he has to take off his mask. He must stop the train before they reach the end of the line. He tries with his foot, but come on. He then tries shooting web to the nearby buildings, and that works just in time. He faints because of the effort, but the good people of New York take him inside the cart, surprised with the looks of the hero. They give him his mask back, swearing not to tell anybody about his face. That tender moment is interrupted by Doctor Octopus, who's back to take the spider with him. He delivers the Spidey and gets his precious tritium. He then leaves, and now it's just Harry and Peter. Harry takes off his mask, not able to believe what he sees. Peter, now conscious, asks Harry if he knows the location of Octavius, and when Harry accuses his friends of killing his father, Peter is like, I won't tell you anything, cause that would make it difficult to set up a third installment in the series. Spider-Man then gets to the dock, and once again he and Doc Ock have a fight. Now, with a giant ball of energy trying to suck the entire city behind them. Peter saves Mary Jane and electrocutes the octopus, but when he tries to shut off the machine, it doesn't work. Peter reveals his identity to Octavius and basically repeats Aunt May's words, that sometimes we have to sacrifice our desires for the good of people. Mary Jane is now aware of Peter's hobby. And even more when he rescues her again while Doc Ock is trying to destroy the sphere. By the way, Octavius ends up dying, drowning with a wall in the river. But this time you're probably wondering, how is he alive in the new Spider-Man trailer? Well, you're not alone. I'm wondering that too, but I guess the answer is always multiverse. Now alone, Peter explains he and Mary Jane can be together as Spider-Man will always have enemies, and he doesn't want her taking the risk. The Mary Jane has been kidnapped twice by the main villain in the series, so yeah, I don't know if that's working actually. But I feel like, yeah, we need to add more drama, right? Yeah? So somehow that nobody will ever understand, Harry sees his father in the mirror, instigating him to kill Peter. Harry throws a knife, breaking the thing and discovering a hidden passage full of goblin tech. Now it's time he takes the mantle. Closing the movie, we have a scene of Mary Jane at her wedding. There's just a small problem. There is no bride, because she is running to Peter's place. She knows he doesn't want them to be together, but then she says,
"But can't you respect me enough to let me make my own decision?"
Andale, what a line! They kiss, and that's how this movie ends. And that's it. Seriously, this is one of my favorite movies. The third installment, I don't like to talk about that, right? Yes, a lot of interference, but tell me if you like it. Sometimes I'm surprised to find out that some people actually love the third one. Okay, I'm David. Have a nice day and see you soon. Bye.